News starts now.
Good evening on this Tuesday night. We are getting results in now from the primary election in Washington state. You will start seeing those numbers pop up at the bottom of your screen.
Now keep in mind the top two candidates in each race, regardless of party, will face off in November. We've got the full breakdown in the big races, along with reaction from some of the candidates in just about 3 minutes for you.
But first, the latest wildfire burning in Oregon, which has prompted evacuations in Wasco County.
Yeah, the Dodge Miller fire is burning just west of the Maupin area, and it's already charred 1,000 acres in less than a day. Our Alma McCarty's there with the latest.
Here in Wasco County, you can't see much, but you can certainly smell the smoke in the air. And signs like this one direct drivers to seek a different route through this part of rural Oregon. In this video, you can see the great clouds of smoke rising into the air Tuesday afternoon as the Miller Road fire grows in size. Here's John Hendricks with the Office of the State Fire Marshal.
One thing that is concerning in that part of the state is that you have those dry fine fuels. So you get like that brush, that grass, those junipers, and they catch fire and they burn really quickly. So fire can spread pretty rapidly, pretty fast.
Governor Kate Brown invoked the Emergency Conflagration Act in response in order to draw in more resources to battle the fire. Meantime, local officials ordered level 3 and level 2 evacuations throughout the area. The latest update from the Wasco County Sheriff's Office lists a level 3 evacuation from Victor and Walters Road north and south side of 216 to Highway 197. The fire south of Ty Valley and west of Maupin.
The firefighters that we'll be sending in will be doing some structural protection and really trying to help those communities.
The Red Cross opened this shelter at Duffer School north of the fire. Jane Burke tells us it will be open overnight into Wednesday.
I know that Maupin, both sides of the river in Maupin are on level 2, so if that were to deteriorate, we might have more folks coming to shelter with us.
Currently, she says there's room for 100 people inside the temporary shelter.
I want to be ready in case people need us. We did have a couple people stop by today. We're able to get a motel, so they decided they would do that.
The state expects more crews and resources to arrive on Wednesday morning. In Wasco County, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Let's bring in meteorologist Joe Ranieri in for Matt tonight.
And Joe, this area under a red flag warning, heat, dry conditions and wind, a lot to deal with, really.
Exactly right. And those combinations you just mentioned are what crews are going to have to face heading into tomorrow. They're not going to be seeing much cooler conditions over the next couple of days in that side of the state. The other thing they're going to be dealing with is the wind, although crews are going to be getting a little break from the wind out there throughout the overnight hours. I have Futurecast queued up here early tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. You can see winds near the Dalles and throughout that part of the state are going to be relatively calm, but as you head to the later part of the morning, the winds are going to pick up once again, gusts up to about 25-30 miles per hour. And I looked at some of the observations from earlier today near that fire. Gusts were right around 30 to 40 miles per hour. I don't think the gusts will pick up that high heading into tomorrow, but again, they're not going to be getting much of a break from the conditions that they'll be dealing with here the last couple of days. There is a red flag warning in place, fire weather in place until tomorrow night at 9 o'clock along parts of Highway 97 in the east end of the Columbia River Gorge. And again, we're still going to be continuing to see some intense thunderstorms move throughout the central and eastern side of the state as well over the next couple of days. So that's going to be the other troubling part for crews who are working on wildfires across the state. Last check, it's unofficial numbers right now, but the state of Oregon so far are looking at nearly 3,000 acres of burned just in the last couple of days. And coming up in my detailed forecast, you guys, I'll talk more about the warmer conditions that I'm forecasting later on this week.
All right, thank you, Joe. Let's return to our other top story tonight. That is the Washington primary, and we begin with the closely watched race for Washington's 3rd congressional seat. You see it here right now. Incumbent Republican Jamie Herrera Butler sits in the number 2 spot with about 24% of the vote. That is behind Democrat Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez, who has 31%, nearly 32 there. Trump endorsed Joe Kent, a retired Green Beret, currently sitting in third. That is with the Associated Press reporting a little over half of the votes counted, so keep that in mind.
Herrera Beutler faced a tough challenge from fellow Republicans after she voted to impeach former President Trump. But it looks like that will not keep her out of the race in November. Let's bring in Catherine Cook at election headquarters in Vancouver. Catherine?
Guys, elections officials tell us this was the race that brought out voters here in Clark County. It's important to note these results are preliminary and votes are continued to be counted. But at this point, it appears come November, it will be a Democrat and a Republican on the ballot for Washington's 3rd Congressional District. And then there were two. Preliminary results from Washington's primary have Democrat Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez and Republican Jaime Herrera Beutler moving on in the race for Washington's 3rd Congressional District. Perez was in the lead with the first votes counted Tuesday night.
What a relief to see that voters are showing up. They are not falling for these big money lies that are coming through. They are showing up for election integrity. They are showing up for women's rights. And they're showing up for small business owners working the trades like me.
Incumbent Jaime Herrera Beutler is in second in her push for a 7th term. She spent Tuesday afternoon waving signs, hoping for last-minute support.
I've been able to put the needs of folks here first. Even when I've had presidents call me and say, we want you to vote this way, or party leaders lean on me and say, you got to do this, I always come back to, no, the folks in this district are my boss. And none of the candidates running can say that.
It's going to be a spicy general election.
We asked political strategist Rebecca Tweed to weigh in on the results as they may play out in November.
We're really going to be seeing who runs the most to the middle. And I think the national narrative will play a big role in what happens, right? With having a primary in August and a general, just a couple months away, there's no wiggle room. There's no way to walk things back. We have serious issues like choice issues on the ballot, gun issues. A lot of those are going to have an immediate impact. And Herrera Beutler, is going to have to run a little bit progressive if she wants to take Perez.
The Washington primary attracted a huge voter turnout in Clark County. Auditor Greg Kimsey estimated 40 to 45%. That's about 15% more than most primaries.
It's fantastic to see people engage in the process.
He says without a doubt, the 3rd Congressional District race drew the added interest. Voter Allie Smith noticed the uptick too.
I'm not sure what it is. I'm hoping that people are just more passionate about democracy.
And that is what it's all about. Rounding out the top 4 vote getters in this race, Republicans Joe Kent and Heidi St. John right now are in 3rd and 4th place. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Catherine. One of the other 10 Republicans to vote for Trump's impeachment, Congressman Dan Newhouse, taking a look at Congressional District 4. This runs north to south through central Washington. You can see Newhouse has a narrow lead there, 27% of the vote. Democrat Doug White in second with 26%. Trump-endorsed Lauren Culp, not making the top 2, is in third as it stands right now. All right, more key races to get to for U.S. Senate longtime incumbent Patty Murray. Finishing on top, the AP projecting she will face Republican challenger Tiffany Smiley in November. Smiley, a nurse and veterans advocate from Pasco, rising to number 2 in a very crowded field.
And in the race for Secretary of State, Steve Hobbs, who was appointed to the job last fall, has a significant lead. The question seems to be who's going to snag that number 2 spot. Anderson and Haglund are very close in percentages there. And let's head to Clark County, where a sales tax increase for public safety is on the ballot, including purchasing body-worn cameras for sheriff's deputies. That's known as Proposition 11. Right now, it appears a significant majority have voted yes. You can find updated results throughout the night and many more races on our website. Just head to kgw.com/elections.
Well, now to an update on a story we first brought you last night at 11. A fire that broke out at a marina in the Dalles, destroying houseboats and briefly shutting down westbound lanes of I-84. Officials now say a total of 5 houseboats were destroyed, 6 were damaged, and 11 were saved. About 60 firefighters were there, all hands on, for about 8 hours overnight. They finally got the fire under control by about 4 this morning. The fire chief of Mid-Columbia Fire and Rescue, his name's Robert Palmer, tells us there was fear, given conditions on the ground, that the fire would spread.
We did end up with a fire to the east of us. We had embers that landed in some juniper bushes over on the freeway down beyond us here. And so it basically threatened traffic on the freeway. We had to make sure that we got that knocked down.
One firefighter suffered heat exhaustion and was taken to the hospital. No word yet on the cause.